This week we watched Stranger Things, the final season, part one. This is created by the Duffer Brothers.
Like how the first episode was kind of give a completed view of what everybody has been up to. Usually with large ensemble shows like this, you kind of don't get to see everybody. Of course, you see the chaos, with the Briar's family state living with Mike and stuff, um, and everything. Then you see the chaos state. The primary issues of episode one, I think, mostly dealt with like Molly and Dustin. Dustin's reeling, still, grieving the loss of Eddie, which runs him into confrontation with those bullies. And Molly's slow, drawn into Vecna and his chicanery. And of course, you have the usual um foolishness of, the boys fighting over Nancy. And then, of course, you have the eventual, Nancy's disappearance. And then up to that point, you have, uh the kids exploring the upside down. You have like it's a lot of stuff happening, and I'm grateful for the fact that each episode is about an hour long or so, which literally gives everybody a lot of time to showcase their talents. I still don't understand why my boy Lucas got a messed up hairline and stuff like that, when in the first episode you do see a glimpse of another black kid with the same flat top and his hairline is perfectly fine. But we'll leave that as it. We'll leave that as what it is, as white people doing white people things when it comes to black hair. But yeah, all in all, I did love this fact that everybody got their individual focus time, even Erica. Like you can't spell America without Erica, you know. And and it becoming an homage to help with eat the pie and stuff like that, which I thought was really hilarious. And then you also got, of course, Max's, premiere episode here, her and Holly for the most part.
One of the benefits that I think maybe of having time, like a couple years off from the last season to this season, is that hopefully I think the people who are in the writers' room were like listening to what people were saying about the last one. And I love the fact that everyone's basically back together. They're all in the same location, even if it's right side up or upside down. Like they're still all in Hawkins. And I think one of the things I really didn't like about last season is that everyone was so spread out. And then even at the conclusion of that season, they didn't get back together really until like the last, I don't know, 5 or 10 minutes, which was like really annoying. So I love that everyone's back together. Everyone, all of our central characters are together, and that the bond between all like, I think they call it like the main four, which is, Mike, Will, Lucas, and I'm sorry.
Dustin,
Dustin. I'm thinking about their real names, so it's hard
yeah.
for me to for me to distinguish between the two. But yeah, um, that their relationship seems like it's coming back together as well. There were a couple moments here and there where you got to see the four of them back together, and I think that that was really special because like that is how you start the show is with those four guys. So, um, my favorite thing overall is like Will. Like
Mhm.
Will Byers, that is he is the star of the show. Like this is his moment. Like which I love because after season two, he kind of becomes like a side character. Like he's not really the main point of it all.
Mhm.
And it's like really Eleven's story that you're like getting like you're getting her perspective more than anything else. And then Max, like in season four, but like it's mainly 11. And this whole thing started with him. So it was weird kind of seeing him being sidelined for 2 seasons. I was like, that's a little curious. So I love that they finally brought him back and because honestly he is one of like the best actors like in terms of the younger cast. He's like one of the best actors on that show, Noah. So like them bringing him back and really centering him as like no, this dude is like central to like this entire situation. Like whatever happens next, like he is integral and part of that. Like I love that because I'm like, yes, we had so much setup with him in the earlier seasons, and then it kind of felt like it just went by the wayside. So I'm really happy that they actually are focusing back on that, on his connection to Vecna and the Upside Down. Like, I love that it's not just 11 anymore, and like you have more people who are able to take on this big bad, which I think makes perfect sense because they built him up to be so powerful. And a lot of
Mhm.
times when you do that in these type of things, some character does something that's like really, and then the big bad is vanquished when it's like, well, y'all set him up to be so important. Like why, why was it so easy to take him out? So I like that it's like, no, like it can't just be 11. Like it has to be other people as well working together in order to defeat him because he is so powerful. So very excited to see how that unfolds. One thing that I found interesting is that a lot of the stuff that's in the show concerning Vecna actually is tied into the stage production, which I didn't know was a thing. But
Hmm.
Stranger Things is on Broadway, apparently.
Hmm.
They have a Broadway show. And so in that show they dig into the lore of Vecna more. But the Duffer Brothers are like integrating that into the show. So like it's all kind of so it's like, so I don't know how I feel about that yet because it's like, well, you would have to have seen the Broadway show in order to understand some of Vecna's motivations and like his history and stuff. So I don't know about that or how they're gonna handle that as we get into the last couple episodes, but like I didn't think that I thought that was interesting. I don't know. It's weird because it's like I had to like watch explainer videos to get like why certain things were happening. There are so many questions that need to get answered, and they have only 4 more episodes to answer all these questions. I feel like that's another thing. It's like they set up so much stuff in the past 5 seasons. It's like you got to answer some of these questions. Like they answered one of them where it's like, yes, Will has powers. Like, okay, great. I think that's just something that people have been speculating for years now. That's just one thing out of many. So I'm interested to see how they're gonna cover all that stuff.
Well, the show is heavily based on like Dungeons and Dragons. So the Mind Flayer and Vecna are, I guess, a duo antagonists. I forgot what it's called when they're both like antagonists or whatever. But I think Vecna's I think Vecna imbues his power to the mind. No, Mind Flayer imbues his power to Vecna, but Vecna becomes the main big bad, you know, of that. I'm a D&D person, but I'm not well versed in like what they're a lot of stuff they're pulling from Stranger Things because once again I wasn't born in the 80s. So I can't say as to exactly what and where, that kind of thing. But yeah. And the cool thing about Stranger Things, so it has like gotten more people into playing D&D, which I found very
Yeah.
interesting.
Like these are movies basically. Like and honestly they look better than some action films. They look better than a lot of Marvel films as well. Like
Hmm.
and I watched a lot of the behind the scenes stuff of like how they were able to do certain like that whole season that end of episode 4, like the Magsy um set piece, that whole thing, how they built it and how they shot everything. So many pieces like had to come together in order for that to work. It looks great. And like it definitely like builds all of that emotion. And I think everyone is like maybe because it's the last one, everyone's like bringing their A game. Everyone's like really trying to step it up and I love everyone's personal journeys and the Robin and Will duo that I didn't expect but makes so much sense. I'm like, yes, that's a perfect pairing right there. Like these two people get each other, they're gonna help each other. And I love that.
Yeah,
Like I love their relationship. I'm so glad that they are like interacting now because they didn't interact really last season. Well,
yeah.
because obviously, because he was in California. I hate that plot so much. Anyways, it got me upset all over.
Yeah, the moving them to California was a weird thing last season. But yeah, like you said, with Will and Robin work together, I do like now that there is a because now the kids have gone from like elementary school to high school. You see
Hmm.
them actually being able to bond more with their like Will's brother and then Nancy and then Steve, like because Dustin and Steve always had a good relationship, but it seems
Yeah.
like now that like and it's a weird thing because it happens in real life, like. I have younger sisters, and there was a point in time where like I'm older than you. We have nothing in common. Where as you get older, you go, oh, we have a lot more in common, and it's good to see that with the Stranger Things, like not most likely in the cast, they all get along, but showcasing that with their characters, like okay, cool, we've known each other for like the past 4 years or 3 years, and we've all become closer. So now even with when they even break up, like they'll even go kid adult kind of thing, and even they're all kind of adults at this moment because the kids are in high school, but they all kind of like still group up and still work cohesive with somebody else. And I think that it was a good inclusion of prioritizing and focusing on Will's relationship with Robin because he does need that. mentor-esque figure. Um, because yeah, he has a brother, but his brother's not gonna understand a lot of things, especially considering they've decided to integrate the actor's real life sexual identity into the character. And it was good to have Robin there because we already had Robin reveal in what
Hmm.
season 3 or season 2 of her identity. So it's good to have Will there with somebody he can actually lean onto and figure out the beyond the Vecna shit, all the crazy
Hmm.
shit, some personal stuff he's dealing with and who he can talk to, reach out to.
I've been just like watching a whole bunch of interviews with them
Hmm.
and all of their like funny moments and stuff. They have such great chemistry as like a group. And I think like you were saying, now that they're older, like the younger kids are older, like they're actually bonding with the adults. They're young, they're still young,
Yeah,
but
so
like
yeah.
the adults of the group. And I think that chemistry is like so important. Like I feel like if you didn't get that chemistry right with those characters, like I don't think the show would have worked as well. There's been so much that's happened behind the scenes that's come out in the like
Lead up, yeah.
lead up to this series. Like David Harbour, his ex-wife now, Lily Allen, who was like an amazing British, who is an amazing British singer, came out with an album randomly, like no one knew that she was putting it out, called West End Girl, which is about the demise of their relationship.
Yeah.
And very, it very much paints David in like the worst light. So
Yeah.
that was like, that was while they were on the press tour for, for the show. Like, and then news dropped that Millie Bobby Brown had, I don't know, filed a complaint against David Harbour for
Mm.
harassment during the filming of season 5. And everyone was like, "What?" And it was like, "Yes." And everyone is also speculating that Lily Allen might have, sneaked that into someone's ear, and that's how that came out. Wild. Um, so I was just like, okay, interesting. While right before they started filming season 5, so this is 2023, that's when the whole Israel Gaza stuff happened.
Hmm.
And Noah Schnapp was saying some stuff
Hmm.
online, and everyone was like, fire him from the show. Like, we don't want him on the show anymore. And obviously, they weren't going to do that. But
Yeah.
then he
Same
came out
same thing
later.
with the guy who drove, like, I forgot his name, Brent, the guy who drives
Yes,
the truck. Same thing with him. Yeah.
yeah, because Noah came out later and was like, you know what? I feel like my comments have been like misinterpreted. Like, I really want peace on both sides, blah, 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 blah. And then Brett was like, he didn't say anything wrong. He shouldn't be apologizing.
But
And
then
it's
Brett was
like,
like really antagonistic with some of the stuff he was like doing. So yeah,
it's like, yes, that's very pro-Israel of you, sir. Like it gag. But
hmm
like all of that stuff was happening either during the making of season 5 or the rolling out of season 5. And I'm like, there is so much drama here. Like that's crazy. But to be honest, like when I watched the episodes, I was not thinking about that. I was
hmm
kind of thinking about Brett and his comments, and I did not like whenever he showed up on screen but also his role is so reduced now that I'm like, whatever. Like, I don't care that you're not important to this story, really. You're just dropping off supplies and leaving. So
hmm
I could deal with that. I do kind of want to know the tea, like what happened with the Millie Bobby Brown situation and David Harbour. Like, I do want to know that.
What I think it is, I think it's more so Millie Bobby Brown. She's a young actress and she's at her height of her fame. Like for some reason, she views herself as the most famous, like, or she's viewed as the most famous talented member of the Stranger Things cast. I'm not gonna say my own opinion, but based on how I said, you can probably pick up how I feel about that. And David Harbour, even though he's an adult, he is still like this is now he's at his career height with Stranger Things and Marvel. So now as an adult, he's like, all right, let's shoot, let's get this rolling. And now we have Billy Bob Brown, who is still a young person with a large money and a large fame. And you see with a lot of young actors, no matter which era it is, where they kind of don't prioritize some of their stuff, and seasoned vets kind of go, get your shit together. And I think that was most of the issue. Like David Harbour's like, because and remember the two of them are together from since like season 3. They have the most scenes together. So I'm guessing the situation was more him being fed up with having to adjust his shooting schedule when they have to get with her when she wants to do 20 different things, and he's kind of like upset about it. That's how I interpreted it. And she probably, I guess, didn't really like it.
From what I'm getting, especially because of that Allen album, he doesn't seem like a pleasant person to work with.
Yes.
So it actually makes more sense to me that like her filing that harassment suit was legitimate. Like
Yeah.
he was probably being a nightmare,
Yeah.
which doesn't sound surprising to me, especially because I think a few years ago there were some issues with him and Winona Ryder as well.
Yeah.
So like they were having a lot of tension while they were filming their scenes. And I think they
Mm.
kind of played it off as like, oh, when you're just around someone for a long time and
Yeah.
we're really intense actors and blah blah. But it seems to me obviously like he is difficult to work with.
Yeah.
So I'm thinking that he actually did do some BS and that's why she filed it. I think also it's like Millie Bobby Brown is whether you think she's talented or not,
Yeah.
I don't know if she's the most talented person on that set. I think she's okay,
Yeah.
but I think that she is a person who has her own production stuff. Like she's doing all these movies, she's making a lot of money. Like she probably has a very controlled idea about like professionalism and
Yeah.
like what is okay on set and what is not
Most,
okay on
yeah.
set. And I think especially for younger actors, they're not kind of they're not gonna sit by while things happen that they don't like and be like, oh, okay, well, I guess that's just Hollywood. That's
That,
how things
yeah.
work. Like maybe older generations
Like you
would
said
do
with
that.
Nona, she's like, that's just how some people are in the industry, and she waved it
Younger
off.
people don't take,
Yeah.
especially Gen Z, they don't like it when things are uncomfortable. Like
Yeah.
they will say something about that.
Yeah.
So I think that's probably where it's coming from.
Yeah.
And I think the timing of all this is very strategic and interesting, obviously, to like really ruin David's reputation, or he's probably doing that by himself. But it's just that all this stuff is kind of coming out at the same time. But
Hmm.
like, I think afterwards, once the story came out, it seemed like Millie Bobby Brown, did not want the story to come out. So she was really trying to kind of cover it up and be like, you know what? I love David. Like when they were on that red carpet to premiere this series,
They were like that, son. They
they
were,
were like they were all up on each other.
yeah,
Okay, so like she was like, I feel so safe with him, blah blah blah. So like obviously there's a lot of cleanup that went behind this whole situation blowing up. But either way, I still enjoyed the series. I
yeah,
thought it was very good. I'm so excited for Christmas Day when the other episodes drop. Like
yeah.
I like that this is an event TV show. Like people are excited about this. We're all watching it together. Like
Hmm.
I love when that happens. So,
There's a very few event media that happens
yeah.
in this day and age of modern Hollywood. Did you like that clip? Well, you can listen to the entire podcast because the 16 millimeter Film Crew podcast is available on all major podcast platforms.